Good afternoon, everybody. What's happening, everybody, on this Thursday, March 27th, 2025? My name is Kevin Smith. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Loud Majority Live. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today. We are later on in the show. We're going to be joined by former University of Pennsylvania swimmer Paula Scanlan about men and women's sports. And there's probably no person anywhere in the world who is more of an expert on the subject, as she was a teammate of William Thomas, whatever the hell you want to call him. She was at the heart of this giant controversy, as well as her activism with early vote action, Scott Pressler's Get Out the Vote effort. We're going to be talking all things that. That's going to be a little bit later on in the show. Before we get to Paula, I'm super excited to have her. She may have a bit of we may break some news on that show about me, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that good stuff. Before we do that, guys, hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We are rocking. We are rolling this Saturday. There's going to be Tesla. There's going to be counter-protests at Tesla dealerships all over Long Island, all over the Northeast, I think all over the country. I will be at the one in Paramus, New Jersey, as I have some business out there. There's also going to be one going on at the Tesla dealership on Searingtown Road in Manhasset that's being organized by a whole large group of people in northwestern Nassau County. So make sure you guys check that one out. But before we get to all that good stuff, guys, make sure you are hitting that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. Bobby, the automatically switch to the next show. I think we're going to be doing that next week. MDUSMC, are you going to show Presser? What Presser? I don't know what you're talking about. But let me know, and I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do to get that good stuff for you guys. I'll see what I can do to get that stuff for you. Is there going to be a press conference soon? I don't know. We'll see. But before we get started, guys, once again, hit the thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. This show is brought to you guys by Old Glory Bank.
When big banks decide who gets access to America's financial systems and who doesn't, who do you think gets left out? Middle Americans who proudly wave their pro-America values. Cancel culture in banking is corrosive. It limits your participation in a vibrant, free market economy. Fortunately, you can fight back. You now have the opportunity to invest in the bank that's investing in a fair American banking system, one based in freedom. Ownership in Old Glory Bank, the pro-America online bank, is here. Old Glory Bank is a full-service FDIC-insured bank that's the alternative to overreaching, un-American big banks. We stand for privacy, security, and liberty. We stand for freedom, family, faith, and the flag. We stand for all the values you stand for, and for the values big banks can't stand. So help keep banking in the hands of Main Street, not Wall Street. To invest in Old Glory Bank, go to oldglorybank.com.
Guys, head on over to own.oldglorybank.com. That's own.oldglorybank.com. Support the movement, support the parallel economy, support the good people over at oldglorybank.com. So let's dive right on in because Donald Trump at the moment is continuing this winning streak. Democrats continue to be incredibly upset about it. Donald Trump yesterday announced 25% tariffs on all foreign-made cars, which is something that I have been a fan of for quite some time for a great many number of reasons, most notably because it will help American car companies compete on the global stage. It will disincentivize people from buying foreign vehicles. You've heard me say it before, and you'll hear me say it again. If you go to Tokyo, you're not going to see any Chevys. If you go to Berlin, you're not going to see many Fords. However, we are stuck with Toyotas and Nissans and Hondas BMW, Mercedes, Audis, all over America. Now, nothing wrong with those cars. They're fine vehicles. Fine. As a matter of fact, Toyota, aside from being the preferred vehicle of ISIS, which is true. For some reason, every time you see a terrorist with a 50 cal mounted on the back of a truck, it's always on a Toyota because they don't break down. However, maybe it's time for American car companies to compete in that sort of market. Moreover, perhaps this will incentivize the European Union, many of the Asian car companies, South Korea, Japan, to remove the tariffs they have on American cars. You see, what Japan, South Korea, Germany, Italy, what they understand is they want their people buying their cars. So they tariff American cars. Why? Because so it's more expensive to buy American cars. The fact that we aren't doing that as well is mind-blowing. At the end of the day, you want your vehicles to be made, you want your country to drive products made in your country. This is not complicated. The other countries have figured it out, but now we finally have a president standing up for American jobs and American workers. Naturally, the Democrats are absolutely furious about it. We'll go over it in just 1 second. Let's get to the story from the Post-Millennial. President Trump on Wednesday announced that he would be putting 25% tariffs on cars not made in the United States. Here was President Trump.
And this is very modest. And what we're going to be doing is a 25% tariff on all cars that are not made in the United States. If they're made in the United States, there's absolutely no tariff. We start off with a 2.5% base, which is what we were at. And we go to 25%. And basically, as you know, and as you've been seeing, not reporting as accurately as it should be reported because it's a massive story. Business is coming back to the United States so that they don't have to pay tariffs. And I think
now many of you may be asking, many of you may be thinking to yourselves, well, what's the problem with that? Firstly, the American Auto Workers Union, the American auto manufacturers of America, they love it. They love this. However, let's be clear, even though the American Auto Workers Union, American car companies, they love this. But people on Twitter, they don't like it. So you guys have to ask yourself, okay, the people who make the cars, they like it. The unions that represent them like it. The companies who make the cars like it. But some girl on OnlyFans or people who got famous because they make fun of hookers on the internet, they're very upset about this. They're very upset. Naturally, a few more people are upset about this, and those would be the people in journalism. Journalism is very, very, very upset about this. As a matter of fact, so badly that now they're going back to their old ways. They're going back to the ways of masking their news gathering as nothing more than opinion. And Tim Pool had a little nugget for them.
Despise these people so much. I don't want to start swearing right away, but I could not hate the corporate press more. I could not hate them more. This is not a news story. This is an opinion piece meant to make you hate Donald Trump. A news story would say Trump announces 25% tariffs on imported cars. Here's a quote. End of story. Instead, every opportunity they get, they inject some stupid nonsense about how Trump is bad, and it's bad for you. The reality is this is good for you. It's good news. It's going to make your cars cheaper. It's going to give people jobs in this country, and it's going to cut off the freeloaders who've been mooching off us. Man, the corporate press really gets me going. But to be fair, I'm the one who chose that news story.
So they're saying that all imports, like with steel or rubber or anything that are coming from other countries, are now going to be charged. Is that what this, like, what's going to get tariffed here?
The cars.
The cars themselves.
So the idea is, let's take a foreign car manufacturer. I'll use a random one. We'll just make up a fake one. We'll call it Crossland Cars. Okay. And they manufacture in China. And the company has a base of operations in the U.S. They make their cars in China, ship them here, import them, and then sell them to the American people. So they're using slave labor in China to make the car, slave labor. Like they're getting paid nothing. They have no health benefits. There's smog and smut everywhere, and they're walking off their buildings in mass suicide. Fox, kind of get the point. You can't compete. The American worker can't compete with that. So these companies are like, we pay $5 an hour. If we were going to hire these people in America, we have to pay them 50. It's too expensive. Trump says we put a tariff on those cars. As soon as if that company tries to bring those cars in, they're going to have to pay 25% extra to import it. So that's the American base of operation paying for it to come in. But these are companies operating in foreign countries effectively, selling to the American worker, extracting our labor force and our manufacturing base. What happens now is this 25% tariff will do two things. American auto manufacturers now get an opportunity to compete. They now have a 25% margin to work with because they're going to say anything you make your car for is going to be more expensive by virtue of the tariff. So if we can't lower our prices below a certain amount, so put it this way. Let's say a Chinese car costs 10 grand. An American car costs 15. The American car manufacturer says it's impossible to get that cost lower. By putting a tariff on those cars, maybe not 1,500, but let's say 1,250. It now evens the playing field for the auto manufacturer in the U.S. because the Chinese manufacturer has to increase their cost to offset the cost of the tariffs coming in. They claim the cost is to you, but when it allows American companies to compete, this actually can bring prices down because the foreign manufacturers are forced to lower their prices. More importantly, it will create more economic activity, more people who have work. There will be a greater volume of cars sold from the United States with more people who have jobs. That's how costs come down. They're lying.
They're lying to you. Because what do you think auto manufacturers in Germany are going to do? You think they're just going to get rid of the American market? You think they're going to go, oh, well, tariffs are there, so I guess we're done selling in America? No. They're going to lower the cost of their cars to include the tariffs so that they can compete with the American vehicles. Or they'll just get rid of the tariff on our vehicles altogether. But, guys, people on Twitter are telling you this is bad. Sure, you just heard a cogent argument laid out from a completely rational person, but, you know, some TikTok star wants to tell you it's bad. Donald Trump continuously picking up wins left and right, but the world is going to try to make you believe he's never been less popular. He's never been less popular. Well, let's say, I don't know. Let's say his attorney general announced yesterday that they arrested one of the leaders of a transnational gang. That would be a good thing, wouldn't it?
We have been out since about 4:30 this morning. The great men and women of law enforcement have been working on this operation for days and days and probably weeks. Early this morning, one of the top leaders of MS-13 was apprehended. He was the leader for the East Coast, one of the top 3 in the entire country. Right here in Virginia, living half an hour outside of Washington, D.C. He is an illegal alien from El Salvador, and he will not be living in our country much longer. He's in custody this morning. One of the top leaders right here near our nation's capital. I just cannot thank Governor Youngkin enough for his leadership in this effort. This has been a joint effort with state and local agencies. FBI Director Patel, thank you so much.
Wait a minute. Pam Bondi arrested? What? Well, Kesh Patel, Governor Youngkin, all of them? They arrested the leader of a transnational terrorist organization right here in Virginia. And the first question that the press asks Attorney General Bondi is something about Signal.
Off-topic question. In terms of the Signals chat controversy that's going on, is DOJ involved at this point? If so, why? If not, why not?
Well, first, it was sensitive information, not classified, and inadvertently released. And what we should be talking about is it was a very successful mission. Our world is now safer because of that mission. We're not going to comment any further on that. If you want to talk about classified information, talk about what was at Hillary Clinton's home that she was trying to bleach bit. Talk about the classified documents in Joe Biden's garage that Hunter Biden had access to. This was not classified information. And we are very pleased with the results of that operation and that the entire world is safer because of it.
And that's what we need. We need people who are going to tell the press, as we say here, had to make sure I turned down the volume for that one. They can't get off of it. Signalgate. Signal. Oh, my God. They used the group chat. Oh, they can't get off of this. No one cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares except, people like resting joker face Caitlin Collins. She got an earful from the fastest talking man in Georgia, Doug Collins.
Do you believe that a mistake was made here, though, to have this conversation, to add a reporter, and to have it on an unsupported, classified group setting?
Caitlin, as I've just told you, I've just answered the question. I wasn't a part of it. And, I'm not going to speculate more than what the president's already talked about and those who've been involved have talked about. But we'd love to talk about the veterans.
Yeah, and I do have questions about the veterans, but given what we saw with the group chat and how this was used, you are a member of the cabinet. You obviously know these other members, several of them who were in there. Is this typical for the cabinet to have conversations over Signal? Is this something that you use?
Well, Caitlin, since you undoubtedly do not want to talk about the VA, I have a question as VA Secretary. As Cabinet, I want to ask you, because I've been curious about this, because my job is to take care of veterans, and I would like to know why CNN is hostile to veterans, especially one in Florida, where you just had a $5 million defamation suit taking offense at a veteran who was trying to help people. In fact, one of your employees actually said, we're going to nail him. I have a question for you, Caitlin. Is that employee still employed? Are you really concerned about veterans? So if we don't want to talk about veterans now, you want to talk about everything else, I'd like to hear from CNN as the Veteran Cabinet Secretary why CNN seems to have a problem with veterans.
Well, Mr. Secretary, respectfully, my question was about whether or not you as a member of the cabinet use this. And respectfully, I'm conducting the investigation. And I do have a lot of questions for you on Veterans Affairs, but I don't think it would be unwarranted to ask
What you want to do is talk about a subject that I've already answered. And if you want to continue this like this, that's fine. But there are VA employees who are working very hard. There are veterans who get their care from the VA and they get their benefits from the VA. And it does me no good to speculate on something that I've already asked and answered. So I've asked and answered your question. Why don't you answer mine? Are you still, is this person still employed who said they were going to nail one of my veterans?
I believe in the South. I could be wrong, chat. Let me know what you think about this. I could be wrong. But I think in the South, that's a long-winded way of saying a phrase, bless your heart. I think that's what that means. I don't know. I heard that once before. This is how we win. When we do interviews with these people, we put them on the back foot. Why in the sweet hell would you ever bring on the Veterans Affairs Administrator to talk about a group chat he wasn't in about national security? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. That makes absolutely no sense. Guys, hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We are rocking. We are rolling in about 10 minutes. We are going to be joined by my good friend Paula Scanlan. We're going to have ourselves a grand old time because the winning isn't stopping. The winning isn't stopping. As Donald Trump signs a new executive order protecting election integrity, we'll get to that in 1 minute. The winning isn't stopping. But we have to make sure we keep our foot on the gas. All gas, no brake for all the activists. We'll get to that in 1 minute. Before we do that, guys, head on over to lfatv.us. That's lfatv.us. That's your home base, your mothership. Everything you need for LFA TV, guys. While you guys are there, consider becoming a monthly donor over at LFA TV. That's how we keep the lights on over here, and we can't do it without your help. So head on over to LFATV.us. That's LFATV.us. So yesterday, or 2 days ago, I think it was, Donald Trump signs a new executive order that focuses on election integrity. Check this out.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order for your attention on the very important subject of election integrity. We believe that this executive order is the farthest reaching executive action taken in the history of the Republic to secure our elections. Among numerous other aspects of this executive order, this is going to cut down on illegal immigrants on the voter rolls, ensure that the Department of Homeland Security and the data that they have available is being fully weaponized to ensure that illegal immigrants aren't voting. This will include a citizenship question on the federal voting form for the first time. This executive order instructs the EAC to cut federal funding to states that don't take reasonable steps to secure their election. This calls on the Department of Justice to vigorously prosecute election crimes, particularly in states that we don't believe are in compliance with federal law around election integrity. I could go on and on for a while, sir, but compliance with national election day rules, cracking down and investigating and prosecuting foreign interference in our elections, revoking President Biden's Executive Order 14019, which essentially weaponized government to corrupt and pollute our election process. There's a lot in here, but we believe that these are very important steps that we need to be taking as an administration at your direction to ensure that our elections are as secure as they possibly can be.
Okay, you all understand that? Yes. Election fraud, you've heard the term. We'll end it, hopefully. At least this will go a long way toward ending it. There are other steps that we will be taking in the coming weeks, and we think we'll be able to end up getting fair elections. Perhaps some people think I shouldn't be complaining because we won in a landslide, but we got to straighten out our election. This country is so sick because of the election, the fake elections and the bad elections, and we're going to straighten it out one way or the other.
Straighten it out one way or the other. Giddy up, let's go. Now, many of you may be saying, but Kevin, look, we want all this. I want this. You want this. Everyone watching this show right now wants it. But Trump's already got our vote. Trump's already got our support. What about all the other people? So, in the last, I don't know, what do we got, 27 minutes? Protecting elections. Helping American workers. Helping American companies. Punishing the people who take advantage of us, arresting MS-13 gang leaders just outside of our nation's capital. How does the rest of America feel about it? Well, we can go to Harry Hinton over on CNN, and, the anchor, I don't know what her name is, she's a little flummoxed by some new data coming in that shows it turns out everyone else likes it too.
I think sometimes it's important to do a little bit of reality check and take a little different spin at the numbers. I'm going to do that right here because all we talk about is how unpopular Donald Trump is. But in reality, he's basically more popular than he was at any point in term number one and more popular than he was when he won election back in November of 2024. What are we talking about? His net favorable rating right now comes in at -4 points. Compare that to where he was when he won in November of 2024 when he was at -7 points, or March of 2017 when he was at -10 points. So when you compare Trump against himself, he's actually closer to the apex than he is to the bottom of the trough. And of course, that's so important because Donald Trump, historically speaking, has had his numbers underestimated. So I think it's very important to compare him to himself to understand he's actually more popular now than he was when he won, or certainly where he was at this point back in his first term. The bottom line is Trump is more towards the ceiling than he is towards the floor.
So when you do that, it makes my knees hurt. So when you look at this compared to sort of historically, what does it tell you about the percentage of folks that think the country itself, with him at the helm, is on the right track?
This, I think, is rather important because, again, if the polls have historically underestimated Donald Trump, what is a metric that might get at understanding at how popular he may actually be? So let's take a look at the percentage of the country who say that we're on the right track. It's actually a very high percentage when you compare it to some historical numbers. What are we talking about? According to Maris, 45% say that we're on the right track. That's the second highest that Maris has measured since 2009. How about NBC News? 44%. That's the highest since 2004. Wow. The bottom line is the percentage of Americans who say we're on the right track is through the roof. And if you were to compare it to when presidents have historically been reelected, of course, Trump is not constitutionally eligible to run for re-election, but I think it sort of puts it in perspective. 42% of the country says the country is on the right track when the incumbent party is re-elected. And also keep in mind, back when Kamala Harris lost and the Democrats were turned out of power, only about 27 to 28% of the country said the country is on the right track. The bottom line is right now, a much higher percentage of the country says we're on the right track. And finally, Sarah Seidner, I want to put it all in the congressional generic ballot.
What about Congress?
What about Congress? Because those are the folks who are up in 2026.
Now, this is the part I want you to listen to. When I talk about activism, when I talk about getting involved, when I talk about all gas, no brakes, this is the part you need to soak in.
And take a look here. The Dems versus the Republicans on the generic congressional ballot. Back in November of 2020, when Democrats won, it was +5 Democrats. Tied in November of 2022, +1 in November of 2024 when Republicans maintain control. And then you look at March of 2025. This number looks a lot more like 2022 or 2024 when Republicans won control of Congress. The bottom line is, yes, Donald Trump's approval rating is lower than compared to a lot of his predecessors, but it's higher than compared to himself. A lot of folks say the country's on the right track, and the generic congressional ballot looks a heck of a lot more like when Republicans win than when Democrats win.
It will be interesting to see if any of what just happened with these leaking of the text plays into it in a later poll. But this is very telling.
No one cares about the text messages. Nobody cares. So, Republicans, right track, wrong track, doing well. Donald Trump more popular than ever. Very good. On the congressional ballot, generic Republican beats generic Democrat, +1. And these polls tend to historically under-poll Republicans. All gas, no brakes. If you're not getting involved, you're not getting active, my question to you is, why the hell not? In just a second, we're going to talk to somebody who can help you get active, who is getting active herself, who actually turned what was a terrible, terrible thing for her into real activism. Guys, in just a second, we are going to be joined by Paula Scanlan. Before we get to that, Mike Lindell.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Alrighty, guys, we are back. I'm super excited to introduce you guys to my next guest. She is a former University of Pennsylvania swimmer and currently working with Scott Presler's Early Vote Action. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. We're going to be talking about Trump threatening to pull funding from the University of Pennsylvania, the men and women sports stuff, which apparently the Democrats just simply cannot get away from, and New Jersey, the big story in 2025. Everybody, please say hello to my friend Paula Scanlan. Paula, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I've been wanting to have you on for a while. Obviously, the big story that Democrats simply cannot get away from, despite all polling and reality telling them that they should probably get away from it, is the men and women's sports fiasco that they are trying to pretend is not the biggest losing issue maybe in the history of politics. Obviously, you have a unique story when it comes to that at the University of Pennsylvania. Why don't you let everybody know what that was? Because this is something that I've tried to explain to people, and it's hard for me to even, I feel like I'm explaining to, geniuses what 2 + 2 is. The fact that we even have to talk about this right now is shocking. But tell everybody about what college was like for you.
I mean, it's shocking for me to have to explain too, it's shocking for even my parents. I remember when it first started to happen, I would tell my parents and I'd call them on the phone, and my dad legitimately told me on the phone, "You are being dramatic and trying to rile me up. Stop it." Because it is so ridiculous that even my own parents did not believe me. But context is that a member of the men's team who swam on the men's team for 3 years literally woke up one morning and decided he wanted to be a woman and join the women's swim team. And upon doing that, he was in our locker room 18 times per week undressing. Keep in mind, this is still completely 100% a man, if you catch my drift. And he was doing that. And shortly, he became an NCAA champion. He went on and won the NCAA championship in the 500-yard freestyle. He broke every team record in every event that he swam. And the university came in and told us that if we did not like him being on our team, that we were bigoted, that we were hateful, that we would never be able to find a job. And they even compared it to being racist. They said that if we don't want to undress with a fully grown man in our locker room, it's equivalent to not wanting to undress with somebody based on their race. And the last thing our university told us in all of this is they said, and if you still have problems with everything that we've said, here's the number for psychological services. Please go make an appointment because you need therapy.
Obviously.
And so
the he you're referring to is the big one, the one that everyone knows, William Thomas or Leo, whatever we want to, whatever helps everybody figure out the one big one that we're talking about here. It is, and the fact that they offered you psychological counseling, I mean, that is like, I want to go back in time and tell George Orwell what's happening now and just go, you know, that book was supposed to be a warning. Instead, it was a blueprint.
I mean, it really felt, I truly felt like I was like, am I the problem? Do I need help? Am I an issue here? Like, why am I so crazy for thinking that this is not fair? This is not right. This is not normal. This should not be accepted. And they made you feel like you were the crazy one for thinking that. And even after all of these meetings, I would still try to talk to people and I'd say, guys, like, I really don't think this is correct. And people would say that I was an awful person. They would tell me that they never wanted to talk to me again. I mean, I had people say that my behavior was disgusting and they never wanted to see my face again. And I'm like, I'm literally pointing out the fact that this is a man on a women's swim team, undressing in a women's locker room, and for some reason I'm the problem. I mean, everyone lost their minds, and they're still losing their minds because now that this issue's become more mainstream, we're looking at actually Democrats are starting to realize that this is wrong. They did polling in the New York Times. 67% of Democrats, majority of Democrats, agree with us on this issue. And yet they take it to the floor in Congress. Only 2 Democrats in the House of Representatives vote to keep men out of women's sports, and 0 senators voted for it. Every single Democrat senator said, yep, let the boys play the girls' sports. Let the 6'4" tall man flash his genitalia at you in the women's locker room. I mean, it's insane.
You know, aside from the obvious violation of privacy and whatnot, I mean, as a former athlete myself, you know, I didn't get to play in college because my knee didn't feel like going to college, so it exploded senior year. But you know, the whole playing college sports is so many people's dreams, and to have something like that now be like a bad memory as opposed to what it should be for so many people that get to play college sports and don't get to go on to the NBA or the NFL or play in the pros. To have that experience go from the high of getting to swim in college to the low of now being not only have your privacy and feel uncomfortable the entire time, but to be in the middle of a national news story. I mean, when you went to UPenn, I bet you had no intention of being in the middle of a culture war nationwide and have people saying all these vile things about you. But it's sad to see when something like that happens to just regular people who don't ask for it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I studied computer science. I have a bachelor's in engineering and computer science. I did not intend to ever be in the political world. I always was political. I mean, I think before any of this happened, I voted for Trump in 2020. I was Republican. I was in college Republicans. I mean, I was a very conservative leaning person before any of this happened. But I think this really opened my eyes up to really how insane the left was. I mean, before I used to just think, yeah, I'm not going to vote for the Democrats. But like maybe they have something that they know, or maybe they just think a little bit differently, and that's okay. I mean, I think this really showed me the left had gone way too far left. I mean, this issue, nobody agreed with. I mean, even Democrat voters are like, no, this is ridiculous. This is too much. And I never intended to, be in this situation, but here we are. And honestly, I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the opportunity to get to advocate for other women, to get to work on these political issues, and to be part of the change. And I think I worked, I can't say how much I actually contributed because there's so many people that worked on this, but I put a lot of work into trying to get President Trump elected, and it paid off because within the first less than 2 months of his administration, I think even only a couple of weeks, he already signed an executive order saying men don't belong in women's sports. So I'm grateful for him and his leadership on this. And I think every woman in this country, whether they're willing to admit it or not, is also grateful that President Trump.
It's so interesting you talk about the executive order, because I was watching the executive order signing. I think we actually ran it on my show. And I'm watching it, and I'm looking at all the women in the background, and I just keep picking out my friends from it. And I'm like, I didn't do anything, okay? You guys are the ones that did it. You were the brave ones. You were the ones, people like you and Riley and Caitlin Wheeler and Alex Bauer and so many other people that were in that room for that. And I just thought to myself, like, I was proud to, like, know that I was friends with all of you, because, 50, 60 years from now, this is going to be one of those things that people look back on and they go, how the hell did we ever allow this to happen? And who were the people who were on the right side of this? And look, when the history books are written, I have no doubt that all you women that stood up for, not for, you want to argue about guns, you want to do abortion, you want to do tax policy. Okay, I can see the other sides of it. But what the hell are we doing here? It is just cowardice that Democrats will not stand up for what most people would consider to be blatantly obvious.
And that's what we're still seeing. And I honestly, maybe I'm naive. I mean, I didn't vote for a single Democrat probably ever in my life, to be honest. But I really thought we would see November. We won in the House, we won in the Senate, we won the presidency. And I said, okay, the Democrats are going to pretend and gaslight and say that they never were for this. I actually really thought they were going to have that sort of campaign, that in the next, the months between Trump going in and November, we were going to start seeing Democrats try to walk it back, try to pretend like they never said that, pretend like they never thought that men should play women's sports, all of that. But we didn't even see that. I mean, there was a few that maybe tried to imply that maybe they didn't support it, but they're really doubling down on it. I mean, even Gavin Newsom, everyone said, oh, he's walking it back. I mean, it was a non-answer on his podcast. And we're seeing a lot of that. And I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's going on in the camp over there. I mean, they have David Hogg now as their VP of some leadership role. David Hogg is a leadership member of the DNC now. I really don't know what's going on over there.
I was so excited when I saw that, because all I thought to myself was, oh man, the next 30 years of Republican rule is going to be so great. It's going to be so great. You got a kid who may or may not allegedly have staged being at a mass shooting at his school. There's still conflicting reports on whether or not he rode his bicycle there.
I think he was not at school that day, apparently.
He wasn't.
That's what someone said. I'm like...
Allegedly. For the lawyers. Allegedly, he was not there. But, for him to rise like that, I just think to myself, please keep going.
I mean, AOC and Bernie are doing their own rallies now. I mean, surely that's and you have people like Andrew Yang tweeting that Bernie Sanders and AOC need to start their own party.
Like, you know what, Andrew, fund it, babe. Do it. Have a fun. Because let me tell you, as New Yorkers, I can't wait for the Chuck Schumer AOC primary. I'm going to go to every one of them with a lawn chair and a bowl of popcorn while I watch Rachel Ziegler and Grandpa Munster debate each other. It's gonna be absolutely spectacular.
You think we're actually gonna get that?
Oh, I look. There's no, if I'm, and this is like a practical political matter. If I'm AOC, I don't know why I wouldn't do it. I don't know why I wouldn't do it.
All right.
Chuck Schumer is 90. He's got all the money in the world, but she's got nothing to lose. Like, she's not going to lose her seat. That's an 80-20 seat up there in the South Bronx and in Astoria. So why not do it? I mean, there's already people talking about writing checks to her for it, and she's got the groundswell. So just from a political, I mean, do I think she might be the stupidest person born in the year 1989? Yes, and I'm allowed to say that because I am born in that year, and she's making us
who
all look
else was
very
born in
bad.
the year 1989?
Who?
Taylor Swift.
And we'll be right back. All right. No, but hey, look. At least
I'm just saying there's competition for the stupidest person born in that
look,
year.
I've said it on the show numerous times. You put on a Taylor Swift song, there's like a 50-50 chance I start singing it. But I'm not saying it's good, guys. It's catchy, okay? It's got, you can bop your head to it. It's one of those things about myself I hate, which I'm sure you will find out relatively soon as we're going to get into the next big thing that you're doing. Because, there's a lot of people out there that go through what you went through, and they're in the news, and they go on with their lives. But you've turned this, whether willing or unwillingly, into action. And so you're now working with Scott Presler, my identical twin, to help flip the state of New Jersey with early vote action. Tell everybody about that.
Yeah, I mean, I saw independently of, Scott Presler and early vote action, I saw the shift that happened in New Jersey, and you probably saw it too. From 2020 to 2024, New Jersey shifted 11 points to the right in the presidential election. I mean, unheard of, especially in our area in the Northeast. I was almost about to give up and move down to Florida or something. And I saw that, and it sort of gave me a little bit of hope. And so I was posting all of these tweets about it. And I would say, my favorite new swing state, New Jersey. And then Early Vote Action reached out to me and asked if I wanted to work with them. And I had no idea that they were planning on going into New Jersey. And they informed me that they were, and it just worked out perfectly, and it made sense. And it was the next big thing. And also, again, I've grown up my entire life in New York and Connecticut are the two states I've really spent the most of my life living. With the 4-year gap, I was being traumatized at the University of Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania. And it was a really cool experience just getting in and seeing all these people flip their votes and listening to the people talk. And I really think there's a lot of momentum in New Jersey, and there's a governor's race this year in 2025. And we think a Republican can win, and that's what we're there to do. And so we're hoping to get more volunteers. We're hoping to see, I hope to see you out there, Kevin, with us. And
I think
registering these voters.
I can't make any official announcement yet, but you may have a coworker in the not too distant future working for Scott Presler. Because you know what I love, what he does the most is that there are so many people, and this drives me crazy because I started in this as an activist. Me and Sean Farish were doing school board meetings and city council races, things people have never heard of before. But there's so many people online who do a lot of tweeting, and that's about it. Mm-hmm. They do a lot of meme sharing, and that's about it. But the people that Scott have assembled are doers. I mean, I can't, whatever. I was being coy before. I'm probably going to come work with you. But I can't wait to be registering voters down the Jersey Shore all summer. And what we've been able to do, and I know what Scott's been able to do, is make this fun. Because so many times I've been involved in activism and it's boring, mm-hmm. and nobody wants to come out a second time. But if you make it fun, if you make it interactive, like I can't wait to go to like Rutgers football game this fall.
I mean, I spent the day yesterday. You can go look on Twitter. I literally spent the day yesterday at a Tesla charging station, and I had a blast. I befriended all the workers because it was also next to a gas station. So all the gas station workers were like chatting us up. They're all Republicans, even though it was a blue county we were in New Jersey. I mean, it was like we had the best day. A guy pulls up with a huge Trump sticker on the back of his car. Like, this is in the middle of a blue county in New Jersey, and we did not plan for any of this. And we had a blast. Like, I don't think people understand. I mean, it sounds like it'd be so boring, but you just get used to talking to people. You get these people talking, and it is like a good time.
Oh, yeah. And, there's so many interactive ways to make it fun. I mean, we were talking about, just going to Giant Stadium for a Giant game or for a Jet game. we do our stuff, and then we go watch the game. Like me and so many other people where we're from are going to do anyway. You're going to go to Giant Stadium. You're going to go to Citi Field. You're going to go to Yankee Stadium. Go 2 hours early, register a couple voters. And people think, oh, what is registering 3 people going to do? And I try to explain to people, it's a grind, no doubt. But you know what? You register 3 people every weekend, and that's an election. What we just saw I use this all the time, Claudia Tenney, the congresswoman from Binghamton, New York. She won by 78 votes. There's 10 times as many people watching this show right now. Well, hopefully there's more than 10 times people watching this. Hopefully there's 20 times as many people watching the show right now. But, you know, that if everyone does their little part like that, you can really make a difference, particularly the more locally you get.
You know, exactly. And that's, I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. I mean, I got hate on Twitter yesterday. It was really funny because someone commented and was like, you're such a loser. Go get a real job. What is 10 voters going to do? Well, if we've registered 10 voters yesterday and we're out doing this a couple times a week, I mean, and you're doing it for the entire several months leading up to the election, that makes a difference. And then I'm one person, you know, we have you out there doing the same thing. We have someone else out there doing the same thing in a different county. I mean, this is how we win. This is how we won. This is how Scott got Pennsylvania the last time. And I'm grateful to be a part of it. It is sometimes a grind. There are days you walk away and you feel like you didn't get anyone or you don't register as many people as you thought you might. And that's just part of the game, and you have to grin and bear it and deal with it. And we're committed to winning. And I want to help the people of New Jersey, because even the people who aren't going to vote for the Republican, their lives will be better when the Republican becomes governor.
Absolutely. I can't, you know why? Because, you know, people said Pennsylvania couldn't happen, and then it did. People said Trump wouldn't win every swing state, and then he did. And for my local viewers out here watching, remember, if you're out there thinking that New Jersey can't go red, when it does in 2025, there's only one more stop when you head northeast from Philly to New Jersey to right where I'm sitting right now here in New York. And I mean, I'm ready to shock the world. I'm ready to do what people say can't be done, because there's no reason why, if we had this sort of push in 22, there's no reason why I'm not on the phone with Governor Zeldin right now, which I think I'd still be sleeping off that election night if he had won. But
I remember that. I mean, I just moved back to New York that year. So I was following that so closely, and of course, you know, but we can make it happen. I mean, actually, the other day I got to meet running for New York City Mayor Curtis Silva. I mean, he is such an amazing guy. That's the type of leader we deserve here in New York, not Cuomo and whoever else pops up from the woodwork and decides they want to become the go from governor to mayor to whatever.
Yeah, no, believe me. I'm watching how many Democrats are jumping into that primary. I mean, I think I might switch my registration to Democrat just so I can jump in the mayor's race. Whoever wins that's going to win it with like 9% of the vote, because there's going to be 80 people in the race.
Please do.
And there's the guy Zoltan. That's not his name, but it's like Zohan, or that's not his name either. That guy, he's crazy. He's insane. And like, his mother teaches colonialism studies at Columbia. Yeah, let's add that to the list of I definitely don't need that in my city right now. He's terrifying. They're crazy. And that's why I think Andrew Cuomo jumped in. Because he's like, look, people may hate me, but wait till they see these guys.
Apparently people, like, I've talked to a lot of consultants and pollsters and those types of people, like, locally around New York. Obviously, I know, working politics, living in New York. And they're all convinced, actually, that Cuomo is a really good shot, which is
100%.
Imagine, like, I honestly am impressed that he could resign from being governor of this state in such a disgraceful way to going and running for mayor of New York City, the biggest city in the entire world. Well, not the world, in the country. There's some Indian cities that are bigger. But
it's okay. We know New York is the center of the universe, and anybody who disagrees is because they're jealous that they aren't us. And
It's true.
I can't wait to watch my chat light up with how great it is to live in Florida or Idaho or
Yeah,
Nebraska.
they're gonna roast me for that. Okay, the biggest city in America, in the United States of America. Okay, guys, that's what I mean. But I just honestly, it's impressive that you can go from again disgracefully stepping down to somehow potentially slipping and falling into the Democratic nominee for NYC mayor. Unbelievable.
Well, because that's I think that's his launching point for 32.
Oh
If
gosh.
you ask
Oh my.
me. I think it is. I think that he does this for 6 years, rehabilitates his name a little bit, becomes moderate, or tax to the middle, and then runs for president in 32.
Oh my gosh.
Look,
I honestly, I hope you're wrong on that because I cannot hear his voice. Hearing him and his brother on CNN in 2020, just hype each other up during COVID. Do you remember that? They would always be on to. I'm like, I could not do it.
With the giant Q-tips, I'm like, yo, you guys, you know why? Because for those people, for those non-New Yorkers out there, Mario Cuomo, the father, always wanted his kids to be Kennedys. And so that's why he pushed one into the media and he pushed one into politics. And he almost got it. He almost got it. Because I really think that if they hadn't pushed Cuomo out when they did, I think he probably would have challenged Biden in a primary and won. And then who knows where we would have been. Because, that guy wants to be president more than anyone wants anything on planet Earth, which is absolutely terrifying. But, Paula Scanlan, thank you so much for joining us. Let everybody know where they can follow you, what you're doing, what you're up to, because I know there's a lot of people out there watching in New Jersey who want to get involved, want to get active.
Absolutely. I mean, you can reach out to me on Twitter. I'm Paula Y. Scanlan. And, we post on what we're up to on Twitter. Or X, sorry to dead name the platform. But we're pretty active on there. We love volunteers. We always need people to come help out with these events or give us ideas even on where to go or places where unregistered voters might be. So we can't do it without the supporters. And so we appreciate all of you guys that support us even a little bit.
Absolutely. And of course, I gotta dot some I's and cross some T's, but I think if you volunteer with Paula, you're probably gonna see somebody else. Just saying.
We hope so.
If I was a betting man, I would. Paula, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Alrighty, guys, we will be right back. So I want to thank Paula Scanlan for coming on. For my New Jersey people out there, there may be some news on that front in the not too distant future. I will keep you informed on that. Also, Custom Rock, I see you in the chat. Please message me somewhere. I want to talk about the New York State Fair in August. I absolutely do. I do want to talk about that. Definitely going up to Central New York for that. I absolutely want to make that happen. A couple things before we wrap up today. Number one, for all my local people, this Saturday, on Searingtown Road and Northern Boulevard, there will be a stand with Tesla protest, counter protest to the radical liberals up there on the Gold Coast. Of course, we know that Gold Coast rich liberals are some of the most obnoxious people on planet Earth. So we are going to go and stand with American workers. We are going to stand with an American company, and we are not going to let them set things on fire because they're terrorists. They're terrorists. Really no way about it. So check that out. Also, guys, before we check out today, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out our shop. There it is. Oh, there it is. Look at this. Boom. Once again, as you guys know, come on. Get your Easter. Look at this. Look at this thing. That's phenomenal. Who the hell wouldn't want that? We've got them in every color, guys. Check that out today. Anybody who picks up anything at loudmajorityusa.com will get a free Loud Majority USA sticker with every one of your orders. I want to thank Paula Scanlan for coming on, guys. Make sure you guys give her a follow. If you're in Eastern Pennsylvania, a little bit north of Manhattan, get involved. Early vote action. Scott Presler's organization, they're kicking ass and taking names, and maybe you'll see me soon. If you're in New Jersey and you're going to the Tesla protest in Paramus, see you on Saturday, guys. But it's already 2 o'clock. How the hell did that happen so quickly? Guys, I will catch you all back live tomorrow. Until then, everybody, stay loud.